Hello there, fellow NPCs. I am Scythe, and today we're going to continue to play The Ladder. We have just started a new chapter where we are going to follow Rebecca and see how her story is going to end up with these hauntings. We already know that she is afraid for Isabella, but is she able to handle this herself? And also, since she's a student Goretti, does that mean that she had something to do with the children in the previous episode and their death? Did she somehow start this entire circle of misfortune and calamity and death? Well, I don't know, but we will find out soon enough. But for now, let's go. Rebecca. This is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through wide open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we are off to some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell. For all I know, a hero might even come sweep me off my feet if I'm lucky.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
But before we continue, let's read about Rebecca. Gales, that was her name, not Hayes. Birthday April 1st, so she's an April Fool's joke. History teacher, Scottish, atheist, raised Kirk. I don't know what Kirk is, what religion that is. Guessing some kind of Christian thing. Master degree in education, major in European history, likes studies, reading in the library, going to the gym, cycling, jogging, lacrosse, lesson plans. Oh, you cannot have lesson plans as I like. Although of Scottish descent, she grew up in Luxburn and even went to school in St. Goretti. Her parents were professors of European history and Southeast Asian history of Luxburn University. They were often busy, and that forced Rebecca to be independent early on. Surrounded by books and instilled with a love for learning, she was a star pupil and was often called a teacher's pet for it. Her passion for academics leading to a career in the industry was to be expected of her. She came out of her shell in her high school years and started becoming the Spitfire she is now. Before then, Ashton was her only friend, though she found him aggravating at first. Independent and used to taking care of others, it was no surprise when she helped out the young foreigner who moves in next door. That is Rebecca Gales. But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. Oh damn, it's the very first day. Let's see here, journal, there we go. Timeline. So, yeah, exactly. This is where we met Isabella. Whew. We're back here. The mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny of fiery hue. They are all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are. Merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind while waiting for another busy work day to end. And again, maybe in another life, I am one. Who knows? But at present, what I have and what I've chosen to be, well...
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
No, you will not. Admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or exciting as I had imagined as a child. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about the whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that makes it worthwhile, isn't it? As if in agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers I'm grading, the final bell rings. Like a dam that has opened, students begin piling out into the hallway soon after. For a short minute I let the noise fill my ears. I let my mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. Solitary moments like these have come few and far between lately. Even my own home hasn't been as quiet as I usually prefer. Though in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either since Isabella moved in next door. And if her fussing over minor cold last week tells anything, I might as well throw any idea of solitude out of the nearest balcony, so long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. A chuckle escapes from me as I reach for it.
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
Oh dude, you're the one babying Isabella. Mother hen, she calls me, and then says and does the same thing right after. It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries, or I feel any sort of apprehension over her fretting. If I am to be completely honest, it's actually amusing how someone can be childlike one minute, then act like a responsible adult the next. But there's a dissonance there, both in their actions and words. Although she may not look like it, may not say anything, may not lose her cheer, one way or another, I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all. That big numpty. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. That's how she has always been. I do understand that part, loud and clear. It's just that I really would rather not pass another burden on to her.
Or become one myself.
Then take care of yourself, that's what you're saying. I don't know. No, we're not. We're not Marianne anymore, so I don't have to do the Irish voice anymore. Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though I guess that's simply one of the things people eventually grow away from, once we've all started leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow, the thought makes me feel uneasy. Thankfully, before stranger ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. Unknown? A small frown forms on my lips when the screen lights up and an unknown number flashes. For a long second, my thumb hovers over the answer button. Wow, that was faulty English. Even the voice that responds once I do accept the call is wholly unfamiliar.
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally, it connects.
Who is this?
Hello? Is this Miss Gales? Rebecca Gales?
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper.
Yeah, it was her.
Briar Realty Corporation.
Briar Realty?
My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite well with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help ease the tension that has suddenly descended either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize.
So I'm guessing that Isabella already found a note. That's pretty much what's going on, and she's contacting Rebecca now.
I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before, but we're working together on a property at the moment, and...
The Armengard Mansion, yes. She said something about that earlier. Is there a problem?
This is about Isabella, actually.
She wastes no time relaying everything. The details she provided are, admittedly, a bit vague, but enough for me to get a gist of what happened. It isn't the bad sort I'm expecting, though still worrying. Especially with words panic attack and pale looking a bit sickly, woven together in one foreboding sentence. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down on the urge to demand answers right there and then. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of comfort in knowing Isabella has someone like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she just said a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? High. Very high. Oh, she is so going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest. Anthem's a fair distance from Luxborn. I really don't want her going off on her own. I'd do it myself, but oh, you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house ends. I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt. I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... Oh, excuse me, one moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
The faint hum of a conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you'd expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is old, not to mention its inconvenient location in Luxborn's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place almost an hour drive away from the comforts of a city? But from what little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about this sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer of help before, I think I do now. To some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going. Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. They can be difficult when they want to be.
Oh, that they can.
Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? I shouldn't be too hard to miss.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That's all I'm asking. I appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. If only the same can be said for the news she brought. I allow a brief minute to pass to ease whatever tension that has latched itself firmly to my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange after. Lucid thoughts, every single ounce of it grimmer than the other, grows with each passing second I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with a sudden unease and nagging worry, screams off. Wrong. This isn't the riveting tale I've hoped to step into today. Oh, a new scene. A new... whatever it's called. Oh, she works at St. Goretti as well. I see. Even on a rush, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter hour. By the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down and dwindling to mere echoes and distant laughters. From the nearby room, melodies from a rehearsing band drifts freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with their warm, lively tunes. Any other day I'll stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march to Edwards Hall's exit. The sooner I confirm Isabella's okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. I don't like that word, niggling. For one reason or another, the single call of all possible things has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this be over with as quickly as possible. So much that I nearly barrel over a student in my haste. Though perhaps it's really the other way around. Why are you here? Kylie! When I looked down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stared back at me. Now, here's the question. When did we meet Kylie? So today is the 21st. Oh. I'm kind of assuming Zack hasn't met Kylie yet. No, exactly, because it's after this scene. Hannah met Zachary Steele, a freelance photographer. Wow, there's so much to discover in this game. Oh yeah. Here we go. That's when it happened. A week later. Then Zack died. Well, here we go. Here we should. Zachary's nightmare became worse with each passing day. To help clear his mind of all the unwanted images, Zack took a visit to the park. There he met little Kylie Suarez, a precious young girl studying at St. Goretti, which is also Hannah Wright's goddaughter. When I looked down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stared back at me. Her arms are wrapped around my waist like a vice, and at my attention, a grin spreads over her face.
Buenas tardes, Miss Pink.
Tardes! Buenas tardes, Miss Pink.
Hello, Kylie. You know, you aren't supposed to run into people like that.
Sorry, Miss Pink.
My name is not Pink. She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. If anything, it seems the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own.
Just remember not to do it again, alright? You could get hurt.
You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink.
I'm sure your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now?
Rowan said he's got some stuff he needs to do before we go. I think he's taking too long.
I think.
But he promised to buy me jelly babies today if I keep what he's doing a secret from Mama and Papa.
Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink about it?
She shakes her head, both her hands going into her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out.
I made a promise.
I made a promise!
She said it's for Tia Luke.
Oh.
Oh, something like a gift?
Like a deal.
Oh. That's not good.
Tio promised to take him somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up.
I see, so Rowan is not that old either. Laughter slips free from my lips. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Tio is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behavior in children. But if both Suarez kids are so fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yes? At any rate, they are nothing but well behaved, both Kylie and her brother. Rowan, the eldest, may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents taught them well. I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behavior on them.
As long as it isn't anything dangerous, alright?
It's not. Cross my heart. My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Tio said so.
So, what? Is Luke actually nice when the kids are there? Is that what you're saying? I would assume he would be basically ignoring them.
Do you want to see? I drew one earlier at class.
Is that why you're here?
Not really. I was gonna show it to my friend first. But since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does.
Oh, oh no. I can't stay right now, Kylie.
Her face falls immediately after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for the crestfallen look, but as much as I want to stay a little longer, there's another place I need to be at right now. And frankly, another child to look after. Taking both of her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. At her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to.
I'm sorry. You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week? After class? I'll even make sure to wait for you. It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier, and I'm the only one she has here.
What about her mama and papa?
Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part? That's where they are.
Her eyes immediately light up at my question. Just like that, I know I've earned the girl's forgiveness.
Oh, just like Takako.
Who?
My friend. She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than southeast. But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't remember much about it anymore.
Okay, I just hope it's not a ghost friend.
Melody says it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy. They could be good friends too! Don't you think so, Miss Pink?
Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be.
That's what I think. Takako's just lonely. If she makes more friends, she won't be anymore. Is your friend like that too?
A little, possibly. To be honest, sometimes I can't tell with her.
After all, Isabella has always been the kind to hold a smile, even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years, and one would think it's enough time to know a person. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years I've never, not even once, seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter, or even when things are tough.
Okay, you can go to her. I'll just show you my drawing next time.
Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, alright?
Don't bribe your school children like that.
No, I'll get a stomachache. Takako says so.
Yeah, exactly.
A small one is okay.
I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me.
I will. I'm sure she'd love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink.
I'll see you later, Kylie.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling
She doesn't look back or wait for any sort of goodbye from me. With a song and an extra spring in her steps, she bounds across the corridor with as much spirit only a child her age can have. As if the conversation has never taken a downhill turn for her at all. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old familiar rhyme lingering in the air. Carefree, unbidden. Untroubled moments like this, I envy her. And as I resume my hurried pace, a tiny whisper at the back of my mind wishes the same can be said of myself and my own worries. Before we go there forward, let's read. Rebecca Gales received a phone call from Rose Cooper after class asking her to pick up Isabella Santos from the Ermengarde mansion. On her way out of school, an excited Kylie Suarez stops her favorite teacher from leaving. Luxbourne may be a small city, but it's no stranger to hellish rush hour traffic. But surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves more of a breeze than a hassle. A relief, considering how none of my calls to Isabella have made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there, or she's ignoring them on purpose. Both does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out of the busy streets. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. For all the fuss Isabella made about the house, it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxbourne, the estate and the nearby Anston village stands at its complete opposite, living and breathing the songs of old, whispers of a once booming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary conveniences aside, it's a place I'm glad modernization hasn't fully touched.
It's just a shame the locals know more of the silly hearsay than the history itself.
Well, it's not much of a hearsay now, is it? You're about to take part of this horrific thing.
If I could only knock some sense into these people.
Sadly, complaining is all I can afford to. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich chaps will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. With a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up the main entrance. Most of the guests are already heading out. Though some still linger, it's mainly just to take photos of the house facade or its various rooms. I pause for a moment, scanning the small crowd gathered at the foyer, looking for any signs of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads.
No sign of her.
No sign of the other staff or Miss Cooper either. I can certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big, I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost or find her before we need to meet with Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number. The gesture, familiar now after so many attempts earlier. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the county has never been popular with the tech savvy after all. To my relief, it only takes 3 unsuccessful tries. At the 4th one, right as it's about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. Silence follows while I wait for her to pick up, the ringing going far too long for my tastes. Okay, so, no, right, of course. I should have thought of that. Rebecca is not the one who started this entire thing several years ago, because she would never get back here if that was the case, unless she forgot it all. By now, most of the visitors have already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs and the eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion, floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. In the now empty hall, they all reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Like this, those old stories seem to almost have a ring of truth to it. I don't get to stray far into the ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds from the other end. That was one hell of a long second.
Hello? Isabella? Miss Cooper called earlier and...
Why are you hearing this? This hasn't... You are not cursed yet. You're not cursed yet! Unless you really were the one who started this several years ago.
Isabella? Belle? Are you alright?
Without any warning, the call gets cut off. Busy notes blare sharply against the heavy silence. But above the noise cutting through the mute air, remains the faint cries of a woman. From beyond the foyer. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come running. Surely I can't be the only one hearing in this. There must still be some staff hanging around, checking things out. But no one does. Not even when her sobs turn more frantic and anguished.
Excuse me? Hello? Who's there?
I'm here, bitch!
Isabella? Isabella? Is that you?
No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries come from. Each step, slow and cautious, towards the door on the other end of the room. While I'm far from someone who readily gives into fear of stories lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I have earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race and my breathing quickens.
Belle? Belle, it's me. Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay?
It's so quiet! Abruptly, all of it stops. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining for any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement will disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for another second. Then, with a caution, I reach for the knob. My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder.
Excuse me.
Oh my god, thank you!
Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
Oh.
No, it's
Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door, as if any second now the cries will start again or whoever's inside will burst out of the room. But I don't get to dwell on these. The woman-worried voice breaks through the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing in the thick of my unease. Even if the concerned look comes from a total stranger, finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting.
Ma'am? Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold.
Do you need to sit down?
Yes, please.
No need. I'm actually looking for a friend.
I wave the mobile in front of her, like the gesture alone explains everything. I'm looking for a friend. Vaguely, I note my tight grip on it and quickly slip it into my pocket before she notices. She doesn't need to know.
Well, I'm not really sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the open house in a few minutes, ma'am.
No worries. She's not a guest here. She works for Briar Realty. Miss Cooper called me earlier. In fact, I'm also looking for her.
Recognition flashes in her eyes, and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. It's all I need to know that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now.
Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it?
Yes. Sorry if I'm a bit late.
It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing you came when you did. Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. That girl never listens.
Rose? Rosie?
Hannah writes.
May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go.
Miss Cooper's head immediately snaps up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile still, friendly even, but the kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than making friends.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there in a few.
It's an impressive thing, to say the least. That level of professionalism. I suppose working years in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. It certainly didn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though.
Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this.
Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right?
You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know? But if you want, you can stay at the parlor in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left.
No, thank you. I'm going out with a few friends after this. Isabella's supposed to join us too. But that depends on how she's doing, of course.
Of course.
Alright, this won't be long, I promise.
She throws me an apologetic look before sauntering over the small group gathered at the entrance. A couple, siblings, and another woman, probably their secretary. Either way, they look no different from the other guests. All three of them primly dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. No frills, no extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes of their ingrained lifestyle. In their presence I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer. Maybe accepting Miss Cooper's offer would have been a much better choice than standing around awkwardly and gaping at them. All the while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation. Although that one proves more difficult with how enthusiastic the blonde woman is. Her voice easily echoes through the walls with only the five of us here. Pretty soon, I find myself being drawn into their talk without meaning to.
Tomorrow? First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, ma'am.
The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, however.
Very well. We'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me.
Are you gonna recognize Hannah, right?
You know how to contact me, yes?
Got your mobile number saved here already.
Good. It's just a matter of time then.
It's a brief moment. A fleeting shift of my eye.
One day for us, Marianne.
As long as you're positive, we won't be having any problems by that time. You can count on my team.
You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Do be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this,
And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup.
What do you know about Luke?
Aren't you, Marianne? You know, we could all celebrate this with a few drinks. Why don't we?
Oh well. He is an absolute creep.
In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago.
Oh, looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. A dark blur. Oh, I can see that now too. I mean, I saw it in the last time we were talking with Zachary. Oh, you can see the contour, everything. But he is menacing. Okay. No. A shadow.
I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
I wonder what happened to the voice there. Why is this sound so very different?
Heather, love, she's busy.
Are we fading out? Oh, we can't focus on it because of that black blur. Oh, that's a really nice way to do it. But as I try to make sense of it, I have a feeling the sense over my whole body. It happens without warning, forcing me to close my eyes. The sensation creeps through every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of any strength. Before I know it, my hand is gripping the nearby door for support. The sudden nausea drowns out their voices and what little sounds there is, all except for the whispers and laughters. Ooh, judging, mocking, taunting, muffled, inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and limbs, spines tightening with every syllable, every utterance. And with each draw of breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully, into a bottomless abyss. On, and on, and on, till the sounds turn into mere distant echoes. Until suddenly, it shatters.
Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here?
His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade and my eyes snap open. When I look to them again, it's gone.
You can head back to the car first if you want, Luke. I hope that settles everything, Rose. I don't know what Isabel's problem is, but please make sure she doesn't hurt herself. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise, ma'am.
No shadows or dark clouds. Only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes. The usual pleasantries as Miss Cooper leads them out the mansion like a graceful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it. And even as I force my breathing to calm down, keep my eyes trained on their backs, and wait for something to happen, it doesn't come back. She returns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her, but there's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her beat, in her step, when she walks back to me. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her in a good mood. Even she appears to have not observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things?
Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we were going to... hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried too. So, Rebecca Gales is apparently sensitive to the supernatural stuff. Maybe because she's just special, but maybe also because she has done this before and her parents somehow realized something is going on. And so, not only did they somehow block her memory of the whole event, but they called an exorcist. That is my belief right now. Rebecca started this whole thing from the very beginning. The parents managed to fix it somehow, and she doesn't remember any of it. But she has become sensitive to the supernatural.
It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold. Weather's been crazy lately.
That must be it. The weather, this stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. As much as I hate to admit it, Isabella's right. I was, and still, am a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine helped, of course, but only some. Although it's not like I can't function, it did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like the usual. Now I'm not so sure. However, I can keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything but. I simply must have listened too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind has started to confuse things. If this doesn't let up, I just need another visit to my doctor. Plain and simple. Though I do hope it won't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together.
I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabel.
You said Isabel. You've written Isabella.
It doesn't seem to affect her much, though. Must be because she grew up in the tropics.
Tropics? Maybe.
Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way.
With a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes, and my trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavor in itself. And what does the journal have to say? Here we go. While waiting at the mansion, Rebecca overheard a brief conversation between the right couple, the interior designer and the estate agent, Rose Cooper. It was discovered afterward that Isabella had already left a few hours ago. What? Okay, then I completely missed the part where we took a long time to get there. A few hours ago would essentially mean before the Cooper even called us. So I don't know if it took us way too long to get there or if this is just a writing mistake. But yeah, that is it for today's episode. And not much happened, but at the same time, we know that something is very off with Rebecca Gales. Exactly what is up with her, we will find out in a future episode. And if you want to watch anything else that I've been playing, you can find it at the bottom of the screen. And remember, just because you're not the main character doesn't mean you're not important. Goodbye, everyone.